So let's start in a seated position. We're going to come into a pose called Supta Baddha Konasana. Ideally, you have a bolster, and also a blanket is nice for support under the head. You're going to turn to face away from your bolster and bring the soles of the feet together and the knees open to the side. I recommend leaving a little bit of space between you and the bolster so that as you lie down, there's no pressure underneath your lower back. So supporting with your hands, start to gently roll down and let the spine be supported, adjusting the blanket to be comfortable underneath the back of the head, letting the arms rest down by your sides and turning the palms of the hands up toward the ceiling. So we're just going to start here for a minute or so and letting the shoulders fall away. So the position is as passive as you can allow it to be. Make sure the back of your neck feels lengthened, and also there's a lengthening of your tailbone toward the direction of the feet. Legs are fully relaxed and descending down toward the floor. If you have any discomfort in your hips, your groin, or even in your knees, perhaps a pre-existing injury, you can support your thighs or your knees with a block or another blanket. So feel free to do that if you need to. Go ahead and close your eyes down and relax all the muscles of the face. Relax the skin between your eyebrows. Release the grip of the back teeth, release your tongue. Soften the throat. And then observe the quality of your breathing, breathing both in and out of your nose. Smooth and consistent cycles of breath without any strain. Long inhalations, filling the lungs with fresh breath. And long, smooth, calm exhalations. Remaining here for another couple of cycles of breath. Very softly begin to open your eyes. Turn the palms of your hands down to the floor. You can support the legs with your hands if you need to. We're going to slowly scoop the legs in toward one another. And using the support of your arms, you're going to press into the floor, lift your chin to your chest, so look forward, and press all the way up to a seated position. And then from here, you're just going to remove your bolster off your mat, so clear your space. And go ahead and grab yourself a strap or a belt. It doesn't have to be a yoga strap, just whatever you can find. And then we'll lay down once again. If you need support underneath the head, you can take your blanket and place it underneath the back of your head. And we'll move into a leg extension called Supta Padangusthasana. We'll start with the right leg. So take your belt and you're going to wrap the belt around the ball of the right foot and extend the right leg up toward the sky. And then from there, extend your left leg down to the floor. So you're working with two straight legs, keeping the back of the neck long and also keeping the tailbone lengthening toward the left heel, just so that the lower back has space and has length. So this is stage one of the position. It's a preparation stage. We want to flex the feet and press away through the heels. Don't worry about exaggerating the hamstring stretch as such. You don't need to over pull the foot toward your face. Just think of creating a nice right angle with your legs and firming the thighs. Bring attention into your lower leg and strongly press the left thigh down in toward the floor as if you were standing on it, because it's your support for the second stage. Take both ends of the belt into your right hand only. Stretch your left arm straight out to the side at approximately shoulder level. Keeping that strong action through your left leg, start to very slowly open your right leg to the right. And the slower you go, the more stable you will be. So take your time. And as you extend the leg to the right, it's not about getting the foot to the floor. We want to maintain stability. Think of broadening the front of your pelvis. So opening the front of the pelvis and opening the right side of the groin or the inner thigh of the right leg. Pressing away through your heels. To be more specific, press away through your inner heels. Keeping the breath smooth and steady. And we want to prevent tipping to the right. So really press the left side of your waist down and the left ribs down. Now take your time, very gently return back to center. Once you've come back to center, then release the leg, release the belt, and we'll change sides. So preparing, pop the belt around the ball of the left foot, extending the left leg up toward the sky, and then extending the right leg down. Make sure you've maintained that extension through the back of your neck. Flexing both feet again. Tailbone is directed toward right heel. And the energy is pushing out and away through the inner heels of both legs. Firm your right thigh as if you were standing on it. More specifically, press the right inner thigh downward. And remember, we're not over-exaggerating the hamstring stretch of the left leg, so just work to a level that's appropriate for you. Think of creating space in the back of your knees. Take both ends of the belt into your left hand. And then extend your right arm out to shoulder level, so creating space. Keeping the firm engagement of your right leg on the floor, very slowly and patiently open your left leg to the left. It's not about getting the foot to the floor, remember? So try to be as stable as you can. Broaden the front of the pelvis and try to remain in contact with the floor under the right hip. Turn the right side of your waist down. Turn your right ribs down. Press the right shoulder blade down. And keep lengthening away through your inner heels. Smooth cycles of breath. No strain. Keeping the right leg firm, very slowly return back through center. Try to stabilize your movement. And then gently release the leg. And popping your strap to the side. Bending both knees. And we'll find our way up to a seated position. From here, we're going to come to a seated position, traditionally known as virasana, and it's highly likely you'll want to sit on some support. In most cases, a block is sufficient, which you can use at the low or medium height. If you need more height than a block, then feel free to sit on your bolster. You can also put a block on top of the bolster and stack yourself up as high as you need to be. The knees will be together and the feet will be apart. So you come to a kneeling position, knees together and feet wide, and then taking whatever support of height that you need underneath your sitting bones. Okay, and then the toes are pointing straight backwards. So this helps to track the ankles and the shins in safer alignment with the knees. Again, you can sit yourself higher up. If there's too much pressure in your ankles or knees, make sure you're comfortable. Making your seat higher will ensure this will be the case. Taking whatever height is appropriate for you. Again, legs and thighs together and sitting up nice and tall through your spine. Allow the tailbone to descend so you're not overarching your lower back. So think of lengthening out the lower back. Relaxing the shoulders and keeping the head centered. In virasana, we're going to take a sequence of arm positions. We call them hasta vinyasa. And we're going to do this with the breath. So starting with your arms down by your sides. Start with a gentle exhalation. And we'll begin. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Interlacing the fingers at the top of the breath. And then slowly exhale and release the arms all the way back down. So the arms reflect the length of the breath. Again, inhale. Interlace the fingers at the top of the breath, lifting the sides of your waist. This time, exhale, take the hands to the base of the skull and a slight tuck of the elbows wide. Inhale here. And staying for the exhalation. Inhale, press the palms up. As you exhale, hands come down to the shoulder blades and keeping the elbows in this time. Stay for an inhalation. Staying for an exhalation. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, palms up. Lifting the sides of the waist. Exhale, release the arms. And this time taking the hands behind the back into a reverse prayer position. If this is too strong, you can take hold of your elbows instead. Inhale. Stay for the exhalation. Shoulders and elbows gently moving backward. One more breath. Inhale. Easy exhalation. Inhale, floating the arms back up to the sky. Deep breath in through your nose. Firm your upper arms. And then exhaling, gently floating the arms on the breath. From here, we're going to exit the position and find our way up to standing. Come to standing with your feet together in Tadasana or mountain pose. We'll move through a series of standing postures together. From here, step your feet open nice and wide and turn your right foot out and your left foot in, preparing for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Opening the left side of the pelvis. In this position, the legs remain straight. Reaching directly over your right leg. Take your right hand down for support and left arm up to the sky. Back of the neck is long and pressing the tailbone toward the left heel so the lower back is lengthening. Turn the left side of your waist back and pressing right side of the groin forward. Kneecaps lifting, thighs energized. Inhale, release, come up and change sides. Right foot in, left foot out. Reopen, right side of your pelvis and chest. Extend directly over your left leg. Take left hand down, right arm to the sky, gazing up if it's comfortable. Keep the back of your neck long. Press your tailbone toward the right heel. Kneecaps and thighs stay lifted. If it's too strong, bring yourself a little bit higher up out of the position. Keeping the legs nice and firm. Inhale, release, coming up. Bring your hands onto your waist. Turn the left foot in and the right foot. Once the legs are set, re-extend your arms, opening left side of the pelvis. Moving into virasana 2. Inhale here. Exhale, bend your right knee to come into the position and turn your gaze to the right hand. Again, keeping the front of the pelvis broad, direct your tailbone down toward the floor. Left leg is firm, shoulders relaxed. Releasing, coming up. Changing sides, right foot in, left toes turning out. Inhale. Exhale, bend the left knee coming down and turning to look to the left hand. Keep the pelvis broad, tailbone down. Arms extending 2 opposite directions, but shoulders remain relaxed. Releasing, coming up. Hands to the waist, changing direction. Turn the right foot out and left foot in. Keep the pelvis broad. Re-extend the arms. Come into Parsvakonasana or extended side angle pose. Inhale. Bend your right knee, exhale. Elbow to thigh and take the top up and over your head if it's comfortable. Gazing to the sky. Contain your right sitting bone, so try not to poke it out behind you. But turn the left side of the waist back at the same time. Left leg stays firm. Inhale, come up. And changing sides. Right foot in and left toes out. Pelvis broad. Inhale. Bend the left knee, exhale. Elbow to thigh. Sweeping the right arm up and over your head. Contain the left sitting bone, bring it in so that the left inner thigh remains long and open. Right thigh is firm, turning the right waist back. Coming up, inhale. As you exhale, turn the toes in, bring your hands onto your waist. So the feet are now parallel, or perhaps a slight pigeon toe of the feet. Take the elbows back, take the shoulders back, but keep the tailbone descending. Inhale, look up slightly. As you exhale, start to fold forward. Release your fingertips to the floor. If you need support, you can take your bolster or a couple of blocks under the hands. Even if you're very flexible, we want to remain in this propped up position. So the arms stay straight and the legs stay really strong. Think of, instead of letting the back round, we want to keep the spine really extended. Create space between the pubic bone and your chest. Retract the shoulder blades and keep the collarbones really broad. Understand that we're trying to maintain a real sense of space through the front of the body, the front of the torso. Pressing the thigh bones back, lifting the skin of your inner thighs. And then bring your hands onto your hips and slowly release, come up. Then bend the knees a little, heel toe your feet back together just to release out of this position and come back to Tadasana. For the next pose, you may like to use one of your blocks, particularly if you find your hamstrings are tight. We're coming into Ardha Chandrasana, also called half moon position. So a block can be used under your hand on the floor at whatever height you need it. Okay? So you can take that if necessary. So we'll start on the right side, left hand on the hip. You're going to look at the right foot and set it so the toes are pointing straight out to the side. The key to balancing in this position is just to move as slowly as you need. So bending the right knee, bring the right hand down to the floor or onto a block and start to slowly transfer your weight and picking up the left leg. Flex the left foot really strongly. The more energy you give to that top leg, the more stable you will be. Opening the right side of the groin, lifting the left inner thigh. If you find stability, you can extend your top arm for a couple of breaths here. Keep spreading the sole of your left foot. To release, bring the top hand down onto the waist, bend the standing leg, and come back up to stand. And we'll change direction, head over to the other side. Again, check the left toes are pointing directly out to the side. Right hand on the hip, just so you're taking it out of the equation to start. Bring your left fingertips to the floor or onto a block, whatever's appropriate for you. Slowly shifting the weight into that standing leg and raising the right leg to the sky. The legs need to be super strong to remain stable. Start to open the left side of your groin and lift the right inner thigh. Pressing strongly out of your right heel. If you want to, extending the top arm. Keeping that standing foot parallel at all times. Last breath. The right hand onto your hip, bend your standing leg and slowly release to an upright position and come back to Tadasana. Step your feet wide, extend your arms out to the side, and then as we did when we were sitting on the floor in virasana, take your hands behind your back into a reverse prayer position, or if that's too strong, grab a hold of your elbows instead. Turn your right foot out and pivot your left foot in, but continue to rotate and face the side. So roll your left hip bone forward and feel that the placement of your back foot has enabled you to do this. The legs remain really straight and strong, shoulder blades retracting. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, start to fold forward into Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Gaze down to your right big toe and keep the abdomen long. Keep a sense of space through the front of your body. Shoulder blades resisting gravity, elbows lifting. Back leg strong. Inhale, coming up. And then gently exhale, turn forward again. And we'll just continue around to the other side. Left foot out, right foot in. Make sure you don't end up standing on a tightrope, so leave a little bit of space between the feet. The back foot is turned in quite a lot, so the hip can roll forward comfortably. Legs are straight and strong. Inhale, lift the chest slightly. Exhale, start to fold forward. Gaze down to your left big toe. Draw your left hip back, roll the right hip forward. Keep the kneecaps up. Shoulders and elbows resisting gravity. Drive the left big toe into the floor to stabilize. And drive your back calf muscles down and away. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, spinning forward. Inhale, extend the arms again. And exhale, release. From here, simply step your feet to around hip width apart. Try not to overestimate that distance. Generally, heels beneath the sitting bones. Take your hands onto your waist. Inhale. And as you exhale, gently fold forward. Release the hands to the floor. And again, if this is too strong, pop your hands onto some blocks or a bolster, or you can even put your hands onto a chair. Legs are as straight as you can, comfortably. And again, the spine is really long. So we're not allowing the back to round. We want to keep the spine as extended as possible. So think of lengthening from the pubic bone toward your chest and retracting the shoulder blades. So we call this a concave spine in a pose called Uttanasana. Kneecaps are lifted, inner thighs lifting, maintaining that real sense of length and space through the abdomen. Now from this position, very simply, we're going to transition into downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can take a soft bend in the knees, walk your hands forward, and then walk the feet backwards. Setting the feet about the same distance apart as what you did in the previous pose. So heels track in line with your sitting bones. Arms are straight, fingers are really spread, and finger knuckles pressing. Start to firm the legs, and as you look toward your toes, press the chest through toward the toes. Try to experience some traction through the sides of your body as you send the hips back. Keeping the neck relaxed. Another breath or two here. Very delicately lowering the knees down. Take the knees open wider than your hips, big toes touching, and coming back into a variation of child's pose. So just sit as close to your feet as you can without strain, and if possible, letting the head rest on the floor. But it's not essential. If your head doesn't rest on the floor, that's fine. And you can also put a block or some support under your forehead. And we'll take a number of breaths here in child's pose. From child's pose, slowly lift back up. Come on up to your hands and your knees. Bring your knees back in underneath your hips, tuck your toes, and we'll return once again to downward facing dog. Keeping the upper arms really firm, finger knuckles grounded. Relaxing your feet. Sending the chest through toward the toes as best as you can. Keeping the legs firming. Inner thighs pressing. From downward facing dog, very delicately pop your knees back down onto the floor and we'll come to a seated position. Grab yourself a blanket, which you're going to sit on. You're going to fold the blanket into what we call a three-fold. So it's like a brochure or a pamphlet. You're going to fold the blanket as so, as neatly as you can, smooth it out, and you're going to take a seat on this blanket. So pop it toward the end of your yoga mat. Grab a seat and also have a belt with you. We're preparing to come into a variation of a pose called Janu Shirsasana. You'll extend your left leg forward on the first side, bend your right leg and just take it open to whatever level is comfortable for you. If you have a knee injury, you can support that knee with a block. Now making a slight adjustment with your blanket. Because the left leg is forward, you're going to also pivot the blanket on a diagonal, so pull the left edge forward. So left leg is forward, left edge comes forward. Take the belt and wrap it around the ball of the left foot. And then sitting up nice and tall. So we don't want to create any compression through the front body. And therefore, we're going to maintain the qualities of what we would say urdhva mukha, or upward facing. So this sense of lift and extension through the front body. So walk your hands down your belt just to whatever degree you can still maintain a lift through your chest. Notice the shape of my spine. So I'm not rounding or hunching or excessively trying to come down, but instead there's a slight forward movement, but there's still a real extension through the front body. There is the smallest twist in this position. On this side, the right ribs turn subtly toward the left big toe. So my shoulders are equally coming into the position and I'm not being left behind. So this is really important. Firming the straight leg, keep it engaged. Chest long. Just another breath here. And then releasing. And we'll change sides. So support that knee, extend it forward, extend the leg forward. And we need to change the position of the blanket, remember? So pull your right corner forward, or the right edge forward, as the left leg comes back. Wrapping the belt around the ball of the right foot and sitting up tall. Find that subtle twist, so the left ribs turn toward the right big toe, and then walking the hands down the belt to whatever depth is appropriate, but remember we want to maintain the extension of the chest, so it's not your deepest forward bend necessarily. Let the shoulders release away from your ears. Left ribs turn forward. Right thigh presses. And keep thinking of creating space between the pubic bone and your chest. Minimize the rounded back position, really extending through the front of your spine, the front of your torso. Staying for another breath. And releasing. Support your bent knee, bring it in and extend it out in front of you. And we're going to change the position of the blanket. So come forward and pop it to the center back edge of your mat. You're going to take a seat on the blanket and extend both of your legs out wide. So we're going to take Upavishta Konasana, seated on the blanket at the center back of the mat. Make sure you're sitting right at the front edge of your blanket so that it helps to support the pelvic position. Legs open to whatever degree is really appropriate for you at your level in your body. Sitting up nice and tall through the chest, finding space and length through your spine, shoulders relaxed. Press your thighs, start to really engage your legs, push out through your inner heels so you're spreading the soles of the feet. Try to maintain this consistently. Bring your hands onto a block in front of you, keeping the chest lifted and keeping the legs strong. In your own time, very slowly start to extend the block forward in front of you. Now, we're not looking to go down. We're looking for that forward movement. So think of a true forward fold. Yeah. Take away the downward emphasis and keep an upward extension as you go forward. Keep that concave spine, that space through the abdomen. Shoulders relax, thighs continue to press, maintaining a strong, steady foundation in the pose. Soles of the feet stay spread. Feel free to extend forward to whatever depth is appropriate in your body without straining, without being overly ambitious. Legs remain strong. To release, draw the block back towards you and find your way all the way back to an upright position. And then lean back, catch hold of your knees to support the legs and gently draw the legs together. We're going to do one more seated position here. So swivel your blanket again back to the end of your mat and come to take a seat on it. Sit right on the front edge of that blanket, so not at the back, leave lots of space behind. Legs together. Grab your belt, wrap the belt around the balls of the feet and sitting up nice and tall, firming the thighs. This is Dandasana and we're moving into Paschimottanasana, a forward bend, but we're again keeping the qualities of Urdhva Mukha, that upward facing lift. So the back of the ribs are coming in, the chest is extending. In your own time, start to walk your hands down the strap. If by chance you can hold the feet, hold the sides of your feet, but the goal is not to come into your deepest ever forward bend. Remember, we're looking for that space through the front body. Keep your chest lifted, keep the back of the rib cage contained and drawing in. Ankle bones draw in, pressing away through your inner heels. Keeping a degree of awareness in your legs and feet as if you were standing on them. Shoulders descending. Another breath or two here. Thighs press. Okay, and then slowly release, coming back to an upright position. You can remove your belt and pop that to the side. Come off your support and you're going to set it to the center back of your mat one last time for our final seated position. Come to sit on support. This is definitely a pose where if you have a knee injury or concern, you will want to sit on more height, and a bolster is a great option. Whatever you choose to sit on, you want to sit to the edge of it. So for the first side, if you can move across to the right and sit on the edge of your support, you're going to have the knees bent and the thigh bones pointing straight ahead. If possible, it's not essential. Right foot rests on the arch of the left foot. Again, not essential, so don't strain. Bind your left arm behind your back. Reach the right hand across. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, gently turn and rotate. Turn the head, so involve the head in the twist. Allow the right sitting bone to anchor down toward the floor. Another breath or two here. Maintaining smooth cycles of breath through your nose. Inhale. On your exhale, look forward and unravel out of your twist, and then we'll change sides. Bring the legs around to the other side. So your right sitting bone is supported. Knees and thighs point straight ahead. Left foot stacking on the arch of the right foot and letting the left hip descend. Wrap your right arm behind your back, left hand across. Inhale the chest up. As you exhale, gently twisting. Turning your gaze past the back shoulder, so involving the neck in the twist. Allow the shoulders to descend. Left sitting bone, left hip is heavy. Thighs are releasing downward. Sternum lifting. Last inhale. Exhale, look forward and release the twist. Release the legs. Come off your blanket. You can pop your blanket aside for now. And we're going to lie down, and I want you to grab a block and also your belt. So coming to lay on your back, you can choose to have the block at the medium height, tall height. If the tall height is comfortably accessible, then take that option. But what's perhaps more important is setting up your belt first. You're going to need to wrap the belt around the front of the shins or the ankles and pop your feet flat on the floor. Open your feet until they are hip width or slightly wider. Leave the belt there set. You'll come to grab that again in a moment. Take your block, Pop it underneath the pelvis, not your lower back. So low or medium height. If accessible, go all the way up to the tallest height. Try to position the tall block lengthways in line with your spine. Feet are parallel. And go ahead and find your belt, hold on to it. Tuck the shoulders underneath you a little so the biceps rotate upward. Ensure the back of your neck is long. Now imagine your feet are stuck in cement. We don't want a movement. Move them when we come into the position. As you're ready, start to lift the buttocks off the block as high as you can without strain. Maybe wrap the shoulder blades under a tiny bit more. Keep the top of the thighs lengthening. Feet and legs stay parallel. So try not to be tempted to turn them out. So maintaining your foundation. Upper back is rising. Tailbone lengthening. Last inhale. Exhale, delicately release back down onto your prop. Release the grip of the belt. Press into your feet. Lift the hips. Remove your block. Very slowly roll down through your spine. From here, we're going to come into a next position called Viparita Karani. Now you can use the wall if you like, but you'll have to come up to seated. So roll off to the side, press up to a seated position. So you can do this one in the center of the room or on your mat with a bolster underneath your hips. But even better is if you can use a wall space, which is what I'm going to do. Now, when you use the wall, you most certainly don't have to use a bolster at all. It can just be you and the wall, and that's perfectly fine. You want to clear your space. I'll demonstrate for you with the bolster, but remember, you don't have to use it. It can be a little bit tricky to get in and out of. So you're going to pop your bolster at the wall, but leave a little bit of distance between the bolster itself and the wall. There's a little space there. You're going to take a seat on the edge of the bolster. And it's like doing a little barrel roll to get into the pose. So what you're going to do is just take support on your right arm and roll yourself up into the position. Certainly make any adjustments as you go along. And if you want to move the bolster, depending on your height and your length, you can adjust it so it's a little bit more towards your middle back. And then arms can rest however is comfortable, to your sides, maybe over your head, or hands can come to rest on the belly. Legs can be together or slightly apart, so take whatever you prefer. And the purpose here is to relax as much as possible. So perhaps the knees will soften a little, the legs don't have to be straight, the feet can be relaxed. So find a position that suits you, keep the back of your neck long. We'll spend the next couple of minutes in this position. You're most welcome to stay here for longer if you wish. But really try to relax fully. Release the effort in the body. Release the effort in the legs. Let the breath become very quiet and restful. As we invert the body, as we raise the legs and the hips a little higher than the heart, we circulate fresh blood and oxygen to all our internal organs, all our systems, including the reproductive system. We send blood, fresh blood to the heart, to the brain, So rejuvenating the entire body. Again, feel free to stay here a little bit longer. You could stay in this position anywhere up to 10 minutes. But when you're ready to come out, you're going to soften the knees and let the feet slide down the wall. Or if you're in the center of the room, just let the feet drop toward your buttocks and your knees release down toward your chest. We want to make a really slow transition out of the pose because we've been upside down for a little while. So we want to be very gentle in our movements of coming up. So as you're ready, roll off to the side, either side, it doesn't matter. Keep the head heavy, push into the floor, come up to a seated position, and then find your way back onto your mat if you were at the wall. It's time for our last position, Shavasana, perhaps the most important pose in the entire yoga system. Find your way lying down on your back. Feel free to utilize any prop support that is appropriate for you. A blanket under the head, a bolster under your spine or your knees, an eye pillow over your eyes, an extra layer of clothing or a blanket over the body. Let the palms of your hands turn open, back of the neck long and tailbone long. And as you rest with your eyes closed, relax the skin between your eyebrows. Release the back teeth, the jaw. Release the fingertips to their natural position. And let the whole body drop heavily down into the support of the floor beneath you. Allow the breath to become very subtle and restful. And as the body finds stillness, the mind can also follow. Allow yourself the next few moments, deep rest and letting go. Feel free to stay here as long as you need. When you're ready, bend the elbows, bring your hands to rest softly on your abdomen. Delicately start to bend and roll off to either side that's comfortable. Pause there for a moment. Pushing into the support of the floor, find your way up to a comfortable seated position of your choice. Close the eyes if you open them. Seal your hands together in front of your heart, finding Anjali Mudra. Letting the chin release down to the chest, maintaining a sense of introspection. Relaxing the shoulders, but lifting the sides of the heart. Finding a deep appreciation for this time. And may you carry this sense of stillness with you for the rest of your day. Namaste.